There are planets out there darker than charcoal, and those aren't even the weirdest ones. We've found worlds where it rains glass sideways, where years last a few hours, and where the surface is literally on fire. Here are the 10 strangest exoplanets we've ever discovered. At number 10, Tres 2b. This planet is about 750 light years away, and here's what's weird about it. It's a gas giant, roughly the size of Jupiter, orbiting so close to its star that a full year takes about 2.5 days. That close, the surface temperature hits over 1,000 degrees. You'd think something that hot would be glowing, but no. Tres 2b is darker than charcoal. It reflects less than 1% of the light that hits it. Scientists still aren't completely sure why. The best guess is that its atmosphere absorbs almost all incoming light, but honestly, we don't fully understand what's going on with this planet. It's just sitting out there, scorching hot and pitch black. Coming in at number 9, HD 189733b. If you saw this planet from a distance, you'd think it looks a lot like Earth. It's this beautiful deep blue marble, and you might think, okay, water, oceans, maybe something friendly going on there. No, not even close. That blue color comes from silicate particles in the atmosphere, basically tiny bits of glass, scattering light the same way our air molecules make our sky look blue. Except instead of a nice breeze, this planet has winds clocking in at over 5,400 miles per hour. That's about 7 times the speed of sound. And those silicate particles? When they condense, they fall as rain. Glass rain. Molten glass, ripping sideways through the atmosphere at thousands of miles per hour. Oh, and the James Webb Space Telescope recently found hydrogen sulfide in the atmosphere. On top of everything else, the whole planet smells like rotten eggs. It's only about 63 light years away, which in space terms is practically next door. That's our neighbor, a beautiful blue death trap that smells terrible. At number 8, J1407b, sometimes called Super Saturn. And that name is honestly underselling it. Saturn's rings are beautiful, we all know that. But J1407b has a ring system roughly 200 times larger. If you swap Saturn's rings for these, they'd stretch almost to the orbit of Venus. You could see them from Earth with the naked eye. They'd look bigger than the full moon in our sky. We know about these rings because back in 2007, this object passed in front of its star and blocked up to 95% of the light. Not 1% like a normal planet transit, 95. And the eclipse lasted 56 days. The gaps in the ring suggest that moons are actively forming inside them, which means we might be watching an entire mini solar system being built in real time. Here's where it gets even weirder. Scientists originally thought this was a planet orbiting the star V1400 Centauri, but we've been watching that star for almost 20 years since, and the eclipse has never happened again. No repeat transit, no sign of it on any follow-up observation. The current best theory? J1407b might not orbit that star at all. It might be a rogue object, a planet or a brown dwarf just drifting through space on its own, that happened to pass between us and that star. A cosmic coincidence, and then it just kept going. Number 7 is genuinely tragic. In a cosmic sense, WAS-12b is a planet that is actively dying. It's a gas giant about 1.5 times the mass of Jupiter, orbiting so close to its star that a full year takes just over 1 Earth day, and being that close to a star has consequences. The gravity is so intense that it's literally stretching the planet into the shape of an egg. Its atmosphere has swollen to almost 3 times the size of Jupiter, and the star is just pulling it apart, stripping material off the planet and forming a ring of gas and dust around itself. It's eating it. The Hubble Space Telescope actually caught this happening in real time, and on top of all that, WAS-12b is staggeringly dark. Its albedo, basically how much light it reflects, is lower than fresh asphalt, reflecting just over 6% of the light that hits it. That's dark for a planet, but still well above Tres 2b's less than 1%. The difference is that WAS-12b's darkness comes from a completely different mechanism. It's so hot that no reflective clouds can form. The atmosphere just absorbs everything. Picture this massive, egg-shaped, deep black gas giant glowing a faint red from its own heat at around 6,600 degrees Celsius, slowly being devoured by its own sun. Scientists estimate it has maybe 3 million years left, which sounds like a lot, but on a cosmic timescale, that's basically tomorrow. Number 6. 55 Cancri E, also called Janssen. This one gets thrown around the internet as the Diamond Planet, and we'll get to that, but honestly the real story is even better. It's a super-Earth, about twice the size of our planet and roughly 8 times the mass, sitting only 1.4 million miles from its star. For reference, Mercury, the closest planet to our Sun, is 25 times further away. A year on this planet takes less than 18 hours. You wake up, have breakfast, go about your day, and the planet has already gone around its star and started a new year. It's so close that if you were standing on the surface, the star wouldn't be a dot in the sky. It would take up to 70 times more of your view than the sun does from Earth. Just this massive wall of fire hanging over you, and it never moves, because the planet is tidally locked. One side always faces the star, one side never does. The day side is permanently baked at nearly 2,700 degrees Celsius, hot enough that the entire surface is just a global ocean of lava. As for the diamond thing, because of the planet's density and its star's carbon-rich composition, scientists have theorized that up to a third of the planet's mass could be carbon compressed into diamond under the extreme pressure. We haven't confirmed that, but it's a real hypothesis, not just clickbait. Here's what makes this planet genuinely weird beyond the headlines. Its original atmosphere got stripped away by radiation from its star. That should have been the end of the story, but it wasn't. The James Webb Space Telescope found that 55 Cancri E grew a second atmosphere. A new one, probably rich in carbon dioxide, being continuously belched out by the lava ocean underneath. The magma is literally breathing a new atmosphere into existence. We might be looking at something similar to what Earth and Venus looked like billions of years ago. Number 5. Kepler-16b, a planet that orbits 2 stars, 2 suns in the sky. When this was discovered back in 2011, it was a huge deal because up until then, we weren't even sure planets could exist in stable orbits around 2 stars. The math gets complicated fast. 2 stars pulling on each other, pulling on the planet pulling back. A lot of scientists figured any planets in that situation would just get flung out into space. But Kepler-16b is sitting out there about 245 light years away, roughly the size of Saturn, calmly orbiting both stars every 229 days. It's not exactly a hospitable place though. It's a gas giant, negative 85 degrees Celsius, because both stars are smaller and dimmer than our sun. But if you were standing on a hypothetical moon orbiting this thing, you would cast 2 shadows, one darker from the larger star and one fainter from the smaller reddish one, and the sunsets would be genuinely strange. Sometimes both stars set together, sometimes one at a time, depending on where they are in their 41-day orbits around each other. One more thing most people don't mention, Kepler-16b actually stopped being detectable from Earth in 2018. Its orbit has shifted just enough relative to us that it no longer crosses in front of either star from our perspective. We won't be able to see its transit again until around 2042. We confirm it exists, studied it for a few years, and now we just have to wait. Coming in at number 4, WASP-76b. We talked about glass rain. We talked about the planet that smells like rotten eggs. This one rains iron, actual liquid iron falling from the sky. Here's how that works. WASP-76b is a gas giant about the mass of Jupiter, but nearly twice the size because the radiation from its star has puffed the atmosphere up like a balloon. It orbits so close, just about 5 million kilometers, that a year lasts less than 2 Earth days. And like a lot of these close orbiting planets, it's tidally locked. One face permanently stares at the star, the other permanently faces away into the dark. The day side gets absolutely brutalized. Temperatures hit about 2,400 degrees Celsius. That's hot enough that iron doesn't just melt, it vaporizes. It becomes a gas. You've got iron floating around in the atmosphere as vapor, along with all sorts of other metals that have no business being airborne. Then the winds kick in. We're talking around 18,000 kilometers per hour, pushing that iron vapor from the scorching day side over to the night side where it's cooler. And I'm using cooler loosely here because it's still around 1,500 degrees. But that temperature drop is enough. The iron condenses out of the atmosphere into liquid droplets and falls as rain. And the way scientists figured this out is really clever. They detected iron vapor at the evening border, where the planet transitions from day to night, but at the morning border, where night becomes day, there was no iron. It had already rained out. Every single night on this planet, the sky fills with molten iron. It rains down, sinks deep enough into the atmosphere to heat back up and vaporize again, and the whole cycle starts over, every 18 hours, forever. At number 3, Kepler 70b. This might be the most metal origin story of any planet on this list, and I mean that in every sense of the word. Kepler 70b orbits a star that's already died once. The star, Kepler 70, used to be a normal star like our Sun, but about 18 million years ago, it ran out of hydrogen, expanded into a red giant, and swallowed its planets whole. Most planets, that's the end. You get consumed, you get destroyed, story over. But not this one. Kepler 70b was probably a gas giant, something like Jupiter, and when the star swallowed it, the outer layers got completely vaporized. Atmosphere, gone. Gas envelope, gone. But the dense core at the center survived. It rode out the inside of a star and came out the other side. When the red giant eventually shed its outer layers and shrank down into the small, hot sub-dwarf star we see today, what was left of this planet was still there, orbiting. A scorched, stripped down husk about 3/4 the size of Earth, completing a full orbit every 5.5 hours. And the temperature? Roughly 6,800 degrees Celsius. That's hotter than the surface of our Sun. NASA literally called it a Freddy Krueger planet. A burn survivor that by all rights shouldn't still exist. I do have to be honest here. Later research has cast serious doubts on whether Kepler 70b actually exists at all. Some scientists believe the signal that was detected wasn't reflected starlight from a planet, but pulsations coming from the star itself. As of right now, the planet is considered unconfirmed, and a lot of researchers think the stellar pulsation explanation is more likely. But the reason I'm including it is because the concept is real. We know stars swallow their planets during the red giant phase, and the question of whether any planet could survive that is one of the most fascinating open questions in astronomy. If something like Kepler 70b does exist out there, it would be a world that literally went through hell and came back. Number 2. GJ504b. This is the pink planet, and I don't mean a little pinkish or kind of salmon in certain light. This planet is genuinely, unmistakably magenta, like a dark cherry blossom just floating in space. It's a gas giant, about 4 times the mass of Jupiter, orbiting a star you can actually see with your naked eye on a clear night, provided you're looking up from a very dark sky away from city lights. It's only 57 light years away in the constellation Virgo, and the reason it's pink isn't what you'd expect. It's not reflecting light from its star. This planet is glowing. It's still hot from being born. Its star system is only about 160 million years old. For context, ours is 4.5 billion, so on a cosmic scale, this planet is basically a newborn. It hasn't had time to cool down yet, so it's still radiating the leftover heat from its formation, and that thermal glow comes out in this deep magenta in infrared. It's like looking at an ember that hasn't gone out yet, except the ember is 4 times the size of Jupiter. But here's the part that actually keeps scientists up at night. GJ504b orbits about 44 astronomical units from its star. That's over 9 times further than Jupiter is from our Sun. And the dominant theory for how gas giants form, called co-accretion, basically says that shouldn't be possible. Planets that big are supposed to form relatively close to their star where there's enough material in the disk to build a massive core that can pull in gas. At that distance, there shouldn't be enough stuff out there to make something this big. Either our best model for how planets form is incomplete, or something very unusual happened in this system. We're still not sure which, The planet is also one of a very small number of exoplanets we've actually photographed directly, not inferred from a dip in light or a wobble in a star. There's a real image of this thing, a little pink dot next to its star, and that alone makes it special. And finally, at number 1, this might be the loneliest planet in the universe. I mean, probably not literally. There are likely billions of these things out there, but PSO J318.5-22 is the one we found, and its existence is kind of heartbreaking if you think about it for too long. It's a rogue planet, no star, no solar system, no orbit, just a gas giant, about 6 to 8 times the mass of Jupiter, drifting through interstellar space completely alone, about 80 light years from Earth, in the constellation Capricornus, moving through the dark with nothing to hold on to. And when I say dark, I mean dark. There is no sunrise on this planet, there never has been, and there never will be. Every direction you look, it's just stars in the distance that will never get closer. NASA literally described it as the place where the nightlife never ends. The question is, how does something like this happen? How does a planet end up alone? There are 2 main theories. One is that it formed inside a normal solar system and got kicked out. Early solar systems are chaotic. Planets are migrating, pulling on each other, and sometimes a gravitational encounter with a bigger planet just flings you out into space. Gone. No way back. The other possibility is that it formed on its own, out of a collapsing cloud of gas, almost like a star tried to form and didn't quite make it. Scientists are still debating which one it is, but here's the thing that gets me. Even out here, alone, with no star to warm it, this planet still has weather. It's only about 23 million years old, so it's still glowing faintly from the heat of its own formation, about 800 degrees Celsius inside its clouds. And those clouds? They're made of hot dust and molten iron. Somewhere out there, right now, in the permanent darkness between the stars, there's a planet nobody can see, with iron rainstorms spinning through nothing, and it has been for 23 million years. We've found planets that rain glass, planets that rain iron, planets that survived being swallowed by their own star, and planets drifting through space completely alone. And here's the thing, we've only confirmed about 5,000 exoplanets so far. There are estimated to be trillions in our galaxy alone. What we've covered here is barely the beginning. The next discovery that rewrites what we think we know could come tomorrow. If you want to be here when it does, subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.